you prepare for what they call a category 1 death. The silence is deafening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so raw, but also those terrible moments where you think, oh, how do we process that? You know, you spend all your life preparing for those big moments. I still, when the Queen died a couple of years ago, like when I used to be at the BBC, you prepare for that moment quite a bit. You do this thing called obituary training where you prepare for what they call a category 1 death, and you go into the studio and you pretend that there's been a death of that nature. So you've sort of rehearsed it in your head quite a few times, but nothing prepares you for that moment where you're in a studio, you're live on air, and the producer and the director say in your ear, "We've got the statement from the palace. You can tell the nation."
Mm-hmm.
And you have that moment where you take a breath and you think, I'm never nervous on telly. I never get nervous or anxious or anything because it's literally the only thing I'm good at. Don't ask me to do anything else. And then I think, okay, you can, and you do it now. And I just sort of, all the training, all the preparation just comes out, and you've got to take care of your audience all the time. I always feel that's so important. I try and act like I'm a viewer or a listener all the time. So what do I need to hear at that time? And who am I broadcasting to? And I often imagine, somebody sat at home on their own, and you're about to tell them that the Queen's dead, and they've spent their entire life with her in it. Yeah, and she has been the head of state for their entire life. And it's that, even though it's a somber occasion, I think I said something like, I'm going to tell you something now, and you might want to sit down for it because it is a bit of a shock. I know we've been talking about the Queen not being particularly well at the moment, but the palace have just confirmed that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth has sadly passed away. And you can almost, the silence is deafening. Do you know what I mean? It's so raw, and you can almost feel the nation as just sort of sinking in, because we are all going to have to process that in our own way. And so many people felt like it was almost a member of their family had passed away.
Because she'd been a consistent, like you say, throughout their whole lives.
She'd always been there. But I love, you don't enjoy days like that, but it's those moments where you think, can you find the right words? And sometimes it's not about words, it's about leaving a gap.
That's not something that everyone can do in those moments where it really, really matters, and you're delivering, whether it's, sad news, something quite emotional, something that's going to resonate with a lot of people. That's a huge amount of pressure on one individual like yourself to be able to communicate that to a range of different people.
I think whatever you go through in life prepares you for those moments. I remember the morning of the Manchester Arena bomb, and I'd got a phone call from my boss really early in the morning saying something terrible has happened at an Ariana Grande concert at the Manchester Arena overnight. Going to need you to come in early. So Louise Minchin, I was presenting with that day, we both went in early, and Louise went down to the scene, and I was in the studio. So I was the only person in the studio. It was me, floor manager, and that was about it. And I remember, I can still, weirdly, I'm sure you can, with some of your amazing gold medal moments, I'm sure you can still see it if you close your eyes, but I can still see the little red light above the main camera in the studio, and it says 5:59 and 31 seconds, and everything was kicking off in the gallery because what have we got? Have we got shots? We need survivors, we need eyewitnesses. Louise is down at the scene, and the madness was crazy because there was so much to do, and there was no auto cue, no script, and you think in 30 seconds you're on air, and you're going to tell the nation, probably awful lot of people watching at that time, because there's a whisper about what's been happening in Manchester, and there'd be parents waking up with their kids. There's young people getting ready for school. There's people switching on the TV in bed with their first cup of tea, cup of coffee of the day, and you've got to take care of your audience. Yeah, and you can't go, something's happened overnight. You've got to set the tone right. You've got to be accurate. You've got to be fair. You've got to be.
But you're still processing that as well for yourself.
And I remember speaking to somebody that day who'd been there overnight and been at the concert, and he was so stunned by what you could tell he wasn't quite there. Yeah. And when you do a program, I always feel that at the end of it, the audience should feel, I could go for a cup of tea or a curry or go to the pub with that person, and we could have a chat about that, and we could go through it. And that can be something that lifts you right up there, and you could say, wasn't that an amazing night? Wasn't that an amazing game, event, sporting spectacle? But also those terrible moments where you think, how do we process that? What do we do next? How do I work out how I feel about that? And I think that I don't always get it right, but I think about it a lot. I think I probably prepare those things without even thinking about it.
When there are so many supplement brands springing up, it's so refreshing to find one that I trust when it comes to quality and impact. Arta's award-winning range, which targets everything from gut health and energy to metabolism and longevity, is formulated with great care by their passionate founder, Rhiann Stevenson. Arta's supplements combine the highest quality ingredients to deliver results that you can really feel. No half measures, no cutting corners, just innovative formulas designed to work. Taking care of my body is so critical to how I perform, how I feel every day, and ultimately how I age. I'm loving their new multivitamin advanced multi-nutrient. This multi has an impressive list of over 40 vitamins, minerals, and herbs with specialized ingredients like wild blueberry, turmeric, sage. The list goes on. Right now, you can save 20% across their range with the code GOLDMINES. Head to arta.co today. You have that ability to connect with people so well. I think that's through your empathy and like you say, being able to think actually, how would I speak to a friend or, that real connection that is often really hard for people to find in high pressured situations.
Yeah, you must see people panic all the time. They don't know what to say to you or how do they, we've all had it, haven't we? Someone in your family dies and lots of people just disappear because they don't know what to say. And I think, and I'll talk about my mum and dad a bit later on, but that's one of my mum's great skills is that she knows what to say even in a really difficult situation. And I think it's a test of us as a human. It's how we communicate with each other. It's that social ability to see if someone's struggling and to touch them on the hand if they need it, if you know them well enough, or to say a sentence that says, I don't know what the words are. I can't find the words to help you, but if you need me, I'm here. It's simple things like that sometimes. And it's being able to read somebody and see what they need. And again, it's hard to get it right all the time, but some people like to talk about things and others don't. And if you find somebody who wants to chat those things out, then I think that it's helpful for them, it's helpful for you, and it's helpful for everybody watching and listening as well.
It's that kind of like thought, feeling cycle where you have to be able to understand your emotions and how that you process that into your physical performance. And it takes time and it takes experience, like with anything, like you say.
And dealing with the shakes as well. Did you have that early in your career? Did you ever feel that the nerves get you so badly that you sort of couldn't control your shake? I remember speaking to Tyrrell Hatton when he first won his first tournament, and he said, I was holding the club and I almost couldn't feel the club in my hands when I was trying to hold a final putt. And I'm thinking, why is my body doing this? I prepared my whole life for this. And it's
adrenaline though, isn't it? And I'm sure you have the same when you're about to deliver something live on TV. Like your adrenaline does take over, but it's being able to know that it's rising like this and you've got to stop it at this little peak,
and you manage
it, and then be able to just not let it become something that you lose control with.
I just give myself a moment before times like that. You just give yourself a breath, like before the Manchester bomb or before the death of the Queen. You just give yourself sometimes maybe it's like only 2 seconds, but it's just like long breath.
Yeah.
Right. That's it.